I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the roll call show that we're all present and we do have a quorum. Those that would like to join me in prayer, please do. Gracious and almighty God, we come before you today with a grateful hearts and a privilege of living and serving in this community. We ask for your continued blessing upon our town, our citizens, and all that work on our behalf. Help us all to approach the business of this meeting with humble hearts, open to listening to one another and working towards the betterment of our community. We ask for your guidance in all of this that we do tonight. Amen. Amen. Damage. Kind of a motion to approve the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda and I have some amendments to it, if I could. So let me do that. Should I do the amendments first?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to amend the agenda to, first of all, move item number 18B, Job Corps, move them up to 11C. Also, Linda Mans has canceled her presentation, so she will not be here today. That needs to be canceled. And finally, Tanel Whitener, she has a travel voucher on the 6/12/26 for the consent agenda, number 8C. Tanel's travel voucher, 8C.
Councilman Nordine. Could also request to move item 16A to 11.
A.
Yeah, 11A, basically swap out with Linda Mans.
That's fine. So moving Job Corps to 11A,
No, 16
Life-saving award.
life-saving award to 11 to, okay.
to 11A.
So I moved also that we move 16A to 11A. Is that correct? Okay.
Second. It's been moved. We approved the agenda with the amendments that Councilman Nordine presented. It was seconded by Councilman Stetler, as presented by Councilman Nordine. Yes. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Do we have any communications from citizens?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
before we get too far, could we adjust our microphones so people can hear on YouTube? Yes.
So the microphones are fine. The problem is that when we're talking, we're doing this. And that don't work. And so if I could direct when you're speaking to grab the microphone and speak directly into the microphone.
That would be fine. I don't care. People need to hear what's going on. So if we need to move them by hand to be able to speak into them, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Well, and that's
They
something,
are adjustable.
if you remember back months ago, I had a phone call from Dave talking about the speaking. And if everybody would speak up, make sure they speak into the microphone. So it's been talked about a lot. So we're just reiterating.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Anybody heard any complaints? They haven't heard me speak?
I don't know about.
I haven't never been told that. In any event, but no communication from citizens.
A consent agenda.
We're not there yet.
Where I'm going to consider.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm ahead
No
of you.
communications from citizens. None being. Can I consent agenda approval of the minutes, June 29th, 2026 workshop, June 29th, 2026 special meeting. Have a motion to approve the minutes.
Should have July, I make a motion to amend that. We should also include July 9th special meeting minutes.
Well, they're in the works. There was so many that these are what are on there for this agenda.
Okay. So we're not gonna do July.
They'll be on the
until
next
Meeting
agenda.
along with these minutes as well. Is
Yep.
that the plan?
So can I have a motion to approve the minutes? As
To approve
presented.
the Minutes.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener. Can I have a second? Second by Councilwoman Hardkey. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Approval of the bills, June 24th through June 14th, 2026. Have a motion to approve the bills.
Move we approve the bills as presented.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, moved to approve the bills as presented. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Hardkey to approve the bills. Do we have any discussion?
Still thumbing through.
Do we have any discussion?
Burger King for $383.
Remember, that's the last item on an entry.
Okay.
That's not the
That's a
single.
lot of Burger King.
Yeah, that's a lot of, that would be a lot of.
That's the
burgers.
Super King Deluxe with fries and a malt.
Supersized.
Yeah, supersize, yeah. Any further discussion on the bills? None being, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. C, we have a travel voucher for Tanel Whitener. And clerk, can you discuss that or?
Get to it. Okay, that was for her travel to Lander for district court to drop off. She had some appeal documents on 6/12.
Make the
For
motion
court.
to approve.
Second.
Been moved by Councilwoman Hardkey. And second by Councilman Stetler that we approve the travel voucher for Tanel Whitener on June, what was the date again?
June 12th.
June 12th for the amount of,
I'm sorry, 6887.
6887. Any discussion?
Let the record know I abstain.
Your address, your social security.
Is there-
number.
Any discussion? None being, let the record show that Councilman Whitener has abstained from voting on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Let's move on down to appearances by citizens and public presentations, life-saving award. Chief,
Oh,
I'm assuming that had something to do with the PD and yourself.
yeah,
I know we have a lot of protection here tonight. We never would, what we have coming up from Casper?
Have Megan come up here. I'm tall enough to actually speak into it.
But your voice is soft enough not to be heard.
All right, so tonight I want to read a brief description of the life-saving medal that is being presented to Officer Megan Lee. On June 6, 2026, at approximately 18:05 hours, officers were dispatched to 502 East Second Street for a report of an unconscious 57-year-old male who was experiencing respiratory distress. An ambulance was dispatched from Riverton with an expected arrival time of 30 minutes. Officer Megan Lee was the only officer on duty and responded to the scene. Upon arrival, Officer Lee quickly evaluated the male subject, utilizing the skills she had recently obtained during a 48-hour emergency medical responder class. Officer Lee conducted an initial assessment and quickly recognized the signs of an opiate overdose, as the male subject was breathing 3 times per minute, had ashen-colored skin, and was minutes away from suffering permanent injury or death. Officer Lee quickly administered naloxone, Narcan, and monitored the patient. Within a short period of time, the male patient's breathing improved and skin color returned. Officer Lee continued to monitor the patient until the arrival of the ambulance, who took over medical care. Officer Lee's swift, decisive actions combined with life-saving intervention greatly reduced serious bodily injury from lack of oxygen, and is highly probable the patient would not have survived if not for Officer Lee's actions. Her quick and decisive life-saving actions are in keeping with the highest expectations of the town of Shoshoni, Shoshoni Police Department, and the law enforcement community. Here's your middle. And this goes on your.
Perfect. Thank you.
Boy, you look better one than that.
That's okay.
In a frame, but.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Congratulations, congratulations. Next, we have Linda Burridge, Realtor from Casper, that we've talked much about over the last couple of years. She would like to discuss a little bit with her about what we have on our West Side project. And
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. My name is Lisa, not Linda, but that's okay.
did I,
I've only met him like 8 times, but
I didn't call you Lisa?
no, not today,
Oh.
but it's Lisa. Lisa Burridge. So it's nice to meet you all. I'm a realtor and a developer from Casper, and Joel and I met he came to my office after calling me a couple of times. He was referred to me by the rural development people with regard to trying to find out more about development and what's involved and what you guys have. So he shared your project with me. First, I commend you guys for being that forward thinking. To grow your community, that's what it takes, obviously, is housing, and affordable housing at that. These days, affordable housing is really kind of a funny buzzword, because there is no such thing as affordable. And that kind of goes to a lot of the reasons why I recommended the things I did. I think Joel shared a lot of those ideas with you. I've so far in Casper developed about 2,500 lots. And so we've built 2,500 houses over the past 20 years. And so I have a lot of experience at doing it. I'm happy to answer any question you guys have. Some of the things I mentioned to him were things like, activity begets more activity. And so one of the things that's really a problem is if you guys decide to do something, it's super important to get something happening immediately, because when things just stall out and there's no activity, then nobody wants to go into an empty neighborhood. Nobody wants to be the first house in. So when you mentioned that you had somebody that was willing to build rental housing, that's super exciting, because having something happening in a neighborhood makes other people feel more comfortable getting into a neighborhood. And sometimes people are negative about rental housing, but I don't think it has to be like that. I think the proper planning and the placement of things like that is super important when you're developing a subdivision. So when Joel shared with me your plat, I mentioned the idea of tiny homes, and I recognize fully that a lot of people would rather live on 2 acres and have a gigantic house, but that's really not really very reasonable in today's world. And so in a lot of the subdivisions that I do, I make the minimum house size 700 square feet with a 1-car garage. And rarely does anybody pick that small of a home. But even if they do, it doesn't ruin the rest of the subdivision. So we have subdivisions where there are 700 square feet homes, and in the same subdivision, there's homes that are 2,000 square feet with 3-car garages. So proper planning is really the important key to making sure that you end up with a successful subdivision. So I'm mostly here just to answer your questions. I know a lot of you have a lot of them. I wrote Joel some ideas that I had, but at the end of the day, the aggressive nature that you guys are thinking about doing something like that is really unheard of in the municipalities in Casper and surrounding areas. We just don't see people talking about this kind of a thing. So the development of things is always on the back of a developer. Developing is a really risky business. So if the town's willing to take over that kind of a activity, there's lots of money available for you guys. I encourage you to take advantage of all of it. Rural development, the business council, anything you can do to get infrastructure built and taken care of. Anything you can do to get as much done up front as you can, so that people can actually see what you're planning to do. Having the roads in, having the power in, those kinds of things are super important. You never want to get yourself behind the 8 ball where you've got a certain number of homes already sold and they're waiting for power to show up. That's a really big mistake because that can really ruin your momentum. So. Any questions I can answer for you? That's what I'm here for. That's what I came for. I don't have an agenda. I'm not here for any purpose. I didn't come to ask for any business. I'm not here. I have, I don't need to work in Shoshoni. So I'm not here to try to talk you into liking me. I just want to help you.
You don't need to work in Shoshoni, or you don't want to work in Shoshoni?
Well, I don't need to, so I'm not here asking
Oh.
for a job. Okay, I'm happy to help you guys. I've been very happy helping Joel. I mean, he's just a delightful person. We've been meeting for a number of months, and I just think Shoshone is an interesting place, and I would like to see you guys be successful in what you want to work on.
Lisa, do you feel that you could help us?
I do think I could help you.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I don't even know what that looks like, right? So I don't want to go say that I'm willing to sign up to do something that I can't do a good job at doing. I have a really full plate in Casper. I have a team of people, so I think that we could be successful in assisting you. Again, not knowing exactly what that would look like, I wouldn't be able to commit right now. But if you guys had an idea that I would know what you're looking at having somebody do, I'd be happy to discuss it with you.
Yeah, I really appreciate the guidance you've given me so far. Our conversations has really enlightened me a lot because
Great.
I'm definitely not a developer.
Yeah.
No. Anybody? Any questions?
I taught myself by trial and error back when there was no Chat GPT to ask. And that's not the smartest way to do it. I do think that Joel has been great and smart and asked a lot of great questions. I just kind of jumped right into it because Casper needed some housing and I had just moved in 2000. And I thought the best way to do it was to develop some houses and find a builder. And I did that, but I made a lot of mistakes and it cost a lot of money. And so you can do things the right way or the wrong way. And I think that every decision that you guys think about is super important.
Do you have, I mean, just based off this being a long talk with Joel and where some of the conversation you've had, I don't know if we're privy to all of it, but have you had conversation with any potential builders that would are showing maybe some interest in that?
I have. There's a lot to decisions that builders have to make. And this is one of the considerations you guys as council have to really think about, like, how do you want to proceed and how does a builder look at coming here? So somebody coming here, I have a builder that I work with that he has a huge crew. So I brought it up to him. I showed him the plat. We talked about Shoshoni. He would look at doing something like 6 houses at a time. That would be something that you could manage, and it would probably be worth his time to come here. It's obviously a trek to bring subcontractors here and so forth. The thing about it is, the things you have to think about are, how is the guy going to get financed? And this is not just a problem for this guy. This is a problem for any builder that you guys talk to. It's the same problem that probably happened to your lady that decided not to move forward with rental housing. I mean, when you don't have appraisals and you have to have 30% of the hard costs of the project, it's hard for people to come up with that much extra cash if you're short on an appraisal. So from the builder's perspective, he would need to know a lot, like, is the town funding these 6 houses? Am I just building them for the town? Those are questions that would have to be decided by you guys. Most builders would never take the risk, candidly, to drive to Shoshoni to build 6 houses. Now, if somebody were willing to fund them, guarantee the sale of them, so they didn't have to carry the ongoing monthly expense, I think that you have a great builder opportunity right there. But I think you have to think about that kind of thing. You can't expect a builder who, typically the way it works is a builder has to have at least the amount of the price of the lot or about 30% of the total cost of the project of the house in cash. And so frankly, most builders don't have that kind of cash to come up with a down payment. And then if the houses don't sell, how does it work when they don't sell? And then who makes those payments? So that would be something that would be wise if you guys want to see something like that happen, if you want to have inventory happen. Another thing that Joel and I did talk about is if you decided that was too much to bite off and you were wanting to just build a couple of them, if we decided to work together, an agent can always list in the multi-list something that's called a to be built. It's something that doesn't actually get built. But it's a plan, as an example. And what it is it's actually an opportunity for a salesperson to be able to talk to somebody who calls about this to be built property. So a builder would say, I can build this 1,200 square foot home with a garage for this much money. We put it in multi-list, hopefully a buyer, somebody that lives here might be interested in buying a home. It's at least a conversation starter. And you guys might already know people that want to build houses. And in that particular case, a builder always comes for a pre-sale. There's a difference between a spec home and a pre-sale. So from a risk perspective, from a builder, a pre-approved buyer who's already had their loan lined out and so forth, they don't have as much trouble finding financing for that house.
So when you go in Casper, or Mills, really, Shandell, and then down there to Pontiac, and then whatever that is.
Yeah.
Is that how they did that? Was the to be built?
That was me.
Because I have a friend that has one of them houses.
Oh, good.
And it's like they all look the same, but they're all different.
They're all different. Yeah.
But
Um,
was that like a to be, kind of like you're talking about?
So when we started out the subdivision, there's 2 subdivisions down there that I did, an older one and there's a brand new one that's still getting built out.
Oh, this was the older one, like say 2014, 15, 16,
It's
somewhere.
called
in there?
Fossil Creek. It's called Fossil Creek subdivision.
Yes.
And what we did down there is I had already been working with a few builders. And so those few builders decided to start with some spec homes, but then we took other plans that they had and put them in the multi-list as to be built homes. So that there was houses getting built, but there's only 2 of those. Then we had 2 or 3 to be built that were different, sizes and different prices and so forth. So we could at least get somebody that was interested in living there to at least call us so we could talk to them so the builder could then build them what they really wanted.
Yeah. I think that's a nice neighborhood and it's full.
It's been full. It took us there was 100 lots in that subdivision. I think we had it built out and sold out like in 24 months.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just takes a lot of planning and a lot of thoughtful process. Like how does this happen? What's the best way? And the problem with me not knowing anything about Shoshoni, I just gotta tell you guys, I don't know. I don't even know what the market might be like here. I wouldn't have the first idea yet. We've talked a lot about what's the buyer pool look like. Well, nobody really has an idea of that. And it's not like you're going to be able to figure it out until you get started. Because what ends up happening is until a person talks to a builder or a salesperson that can help them move through the process, they just get stuck. It's not an unusual thing for a buyer to want to do something or be interested in something, but not really understand the next step or how to actually move forward to get it done. So, what it takes is exposure. It takes signs. It takes, people that are willing to call people back when they inquire about something.
So on that to be built plan, so are you saying that our best bet would be to go ahead and find a way to finance a couple being built at the beginning and then have the plans?
And at the same time, have the to be built. So we could even find ourselves, we don't know yet because we haven't gone down this path. We could even find ourselves where maybe there's more than one builder that would be interested in doing something. And again, there's a lot to figure out because you guys don't have lumber yards and, you don't have probably all the subs that have enough time to be able to do new construction, or from the perspective of how much more might it cost to build a house here? We don't even know that yet. So that also weighs in on one of the things you guys can do, and you have to follow your own rules and all, but from the perspective of selling a lot for a super reasonable price, it's real smart. Why? Because the house is going to cost a fortune. It's really going to cost a lot of money. And you can't change that. It's not like these builders are, frankly, they're not really getting rich in Casper. They're making 10, 15, 20,000 bucks a house.
They're making
That-
payroll and insurance payments.
They're not making a ton of money, right? So it's just that since COVID, everything has pretty much almost tripled in price from where we were at during COVID. So
So what do you
Councilman
see?
Nordine.
So what do you see as our next step then? I mean, it sounds like we just really need to get a plan put together.
yeah, I mean, I think, he's been politically really smart. He said these things. I can't tell you anything. We have to have the council decide. So I think your next step is for the council to decide, you want to sell these lots. I would hope that whoever you decide to hire to help you represent what you want to get done, that you take some of the coaching, I guess is the best way I could say it, because, I don't want you guys to go down a path and then not have enough flexibility to be able to zig and zag when you have somebody that's interested in a subdivision, but you haven't thought through certain pieces. So I think what the council does is the council decides, yes, we're willing to find a couple of spec homes, 2, not to exceed, I don't know, call it 600 grand. Okay, why? Because probably a decent house is going to cost 300,000 bucks to build. So you have to know going in that you're going to pay 600,000 bucks to build 2 houses potentially, unless they're really, really small on really, really small lots, probably, I don't know. And then once you decide that, we can start talking to builders and see who's willing to come over and what it would look like, and that you would guarantee the payments until it got sold or something like that. We'd start marketing it right away, that kind of thing. So you can put in multi-list, pretend houses that haven't been built yet, as long as they're as long as they have an address. And you can actually put, the other ones wouldn't be to be built. Those are going to be actual, we're building this,
A lot of sense.
And in a perfect world, we would try to figure out how could we circle back and try to get the lady who was going to build the rentals.
Yeah.
I mean, from a marketing perspective, that's the smartest thing you guys could do and I'm happy to talk to her and try to figure out if that's what you guys want. Now, again, the council has to decide. I don't know this lady. I don't know.
She's got a lot of rentals around and I've not heard anything bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you have, I mean, the whole idea is for you guys getting housing, not everybody's going to be able to buy.
Right.
And if she's already got the rental experience,
Yeah.
there's a reason why she got stopped. And so, with her project. And I think that sometimes those things can be easily rectified and sometimes they can't be, but it would be a good idea to circle back and try to figure out how do you get her started in there? Because if this builder that's going to build 2 houses could also build her 4 rentals or whatever, now you've got some momentum happening.
Even maybe even getting one started would be important.
It might, but you're probably not going to get a builder to go through all the
Right.
hoops to get one to come all the way. Because
Sure.
I mean, it's not that far. I get it.
Mhm.
But it's, if a sub's going to come here in the morning and go home at night, it's
3 hours of travel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
3 hours of travel. And
No, I drive.
You have a
Yeah.
police cruiser, you can drive faster.
And I've already heard about your, so I slammed on the brakes as soon as I saw that 40, man. I was.
Oh, you were fine. You're all sitting in here. You're good.
Yeah. Tammy, do you have some questions?
We already made a resolution about no, tiny houses in there. And it's just. You think that's a bad thing, or?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to hear from her.
Yeah, I do. I think the thing about it is that I'm not saying that they should look like trailers. That's not the point. But, there are, like, what we're finding in Casper especially is there's a lot of single people that just need something really small, don't have tremendously high paying jobs, but would love to own something. And so, from my perspective, helping somebody get a leg into their owning their own home is a really good idea. It doesn't have, in my opinion, doesn't have to be a big house. So I don't see the downside to somebody having a really small home.
Do you have a lot of tiny homes in Casper?
Well, there's old ones and there's starting to be some new ones now too. In fact, the subdivision that Jake was just talking about, that has some pretty small homes in it. Those were 900, a lot of those were 900
that's
square
what we
feet,
said.
850, 900.
Put on our thing was 900. wasn't
No.
it?
11.
1,000.
Huh?
1,000.
No, it was
1,000?
11 or 12.
1,200.
Was it 12?
See, and once I want you guys to know, like, for the most part in Casper, and this is of course with a lot that's
Yep.
not inexpensive in Casper, but the price, if you think about it, is, just so you guys know, it's like $300 a square foot is what, if somebody calls me and says, what's a new construction house going to be with a lot included, we can tell them it's about 300. So 3 times 12, that's the $360,000 home. And not everybody can afford $2,500 a month for a house. And that's kind of what it turns out to be. And so part of what you have to have is somebody that can really help people through financing, because that's a big deal too. And so somebody in Casper would be happy to get all the approvals that needed to be able to fund something that's in Shoshoni. So yeah, I've thought about a lot of the pieces for you when Joel and I have kind of brainstormed about a few things. Financing is the number one biggest, most important thing of the whole thing. But if you think about it, 360,000, that's a lot of money. I mean, it's a ton of money. And so the problem is that, most people are, if they want to have a house payment of $1,000, either have to have like a gigantic down payment or a tiny home. And there's not much choice, but to me, I don't think I like to see people have home ownership. That's why I think the tiny homes are okay. And some people have I don't know your idea. What do you think a tiny home, the problem with it is? You think it's because they're ugly, or do you think
I
it's
think they're ugly.
okay?
It's just that we'd set up our deal out there with no tiny homes in it.
But we did have 7 lots, and that was on those 7, that was what we kind of had earmarked for townhouses or.
Yeah.
Not
Duplexes.
duplexes
Mhm.
in that area. And so there was 7, and you're mentioning that that's maybe something that people look. So I think that's 7 that
There's
show some progress on a little bit. Or
sure.
at least would allow somebody to build something like you're mentioning.
Yeah.
And then, at that point, clearly anybody building on any lot could ask for a variance on.
No. There has to be a legal reason for a variance.
Then
not
why
just-
did we let this tiny home be built and it wasn't in the zoning?
Wasn't
Because we made a variance. No, it was R1. And we
No,
allowed it.
no, it's not.
Thought it was R1.
No, it's R3.
where it is allowed. No, to get maybe legal counsel, because you can't give a variance because, well, we like it.
Right, there's gonna have to be some reason in there essentially that says there's no other way they could use that property, right? Or violate, like for a business. So there's no reason why you can't allow them to have a certain business in those little. Then I'm just talking off the top of my, trying to remember the legal jargon, but essentially you can't deny someone use of a property. If that's the only way they can use it, right? Like, let's say the lot is odd shaped, has a cliff on it. and you have it in there as R1 for homes, and it's obvious you can't build a home on that. Well, then you'd have to be able to give a variance for like, let's say, just a garage to store stuff. That would be a variance.
Can you talk up?
Does that make sense? Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
So if we said, bro, if somebody come and said, I want to build on this lot, but I financially can't build the requirement you're asking, but I can build it maybe 200 square foot smaller, we couldn't as a
No.
council or to make an exception in that instance.
No, not for financial reasons. When they go in and buy the lot, essentially, they're buying it knowing that there's already this zoning in place. There has to be something physically or some reason that would just deny them the ability to use that property in that specific way. Right? Like the odd shape of the lot, the physical geography, the fact that, let's say, it's the area has completely changed in character, doesn't make any sense, then you can start giving variances. I mean, you haven't built anything yet. One of the things you could do is change it by resolution, but if I can, Mayor.
Please.
I think one of the reasons I wasn't here for the vote on the tiny homes, but I can tell you that there has been an issue in the past with people wanting to build tiny homes here, but not necessarily following any like building requirement and codes. And so it wasn't exactly what the council had thought they were getting when tiny homes were being built in the past, and it ended up being something else.
Sure.
And I think that's what kind of led to the
Decision.
decision making. So
You-
that's just something that I noticed.
Sure. And a tiny home is built with the same building codes as everything else. I mean, so if we build something in Casper that's 800 square feet, it's the same exact code. Electrical, heating, the whole bit. It's all, you guys have a building department here?
No.
So that would be something that I have to kind of get figured out. You have a lot to do.
Wild West out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I may,
Please.
one of the things
Counsel.
that I have seen done elsewhere as well, when there isn't necessarily building inspectors requiring when there's going to be a new building that there's a PE or an architectural stamp on the new building before it's brought in or built. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
talking in the microphone, but
That's not for the audience, though, that
It
might.
doesn't even sound like they were. It sounds like we can hear your voice.
Those are
but
just for the
they're-
YouTube.
Oh, they were, you know, I was speakers.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it's the same way with Riverton Council.
Is it? Yeah, it's weird.
We can't hear council at all.
Yeah.
Sorry, last week.
Any more questions, Councilman?
Well, it sounds like maybe you've got some minds changed on the tiny home and the 1,200 square feet. That we had a heated discussion about that. But supposing we can get, that's 3 readings and it's changed. There's nothing built out there. Nobody would be upset. If we can get those changed, I just personally, I'd like to see you and your group take this on to help us get these developed and sold through you guys. I think that would be the smartest thing for us to do. I've seen your work. I've seen completed work. I didn't see you in action, but
Yeah.
completed work, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
We need to get our ducks in a row. And that's what I guess we're trying to do, between you and our council to help us get us pointed the right direction. But, I appreciate everything you've done for us so far, and I hope that we can continue the relationship. I really
Guys,
appreciate you
I just
coming
want
up
you
here.
guys to know, I find it super, I work with every municipality. And when you're a developer, you're not the most popular cat, just so you guys get it. It's like, I don't know why, because when houses are built and there's tax revenue, you'd think that a municipality would be kind of happy about having rooftops, but that's not always the case. But I have never, I mean this, ever seen a mayor more about your town. I just think it was so refreshing. I couldn't help myself. I'm like, look, well, he's just so nice. And he cares about Shoshoni. This is a big deal to me. So somebody that loves our town, it's really refreshing. So good for you guys for being a great council.
One more question for you. We have a school that's building houses. Do you think would be the right thing to do to donate them a lot to build?
I
their
do.
house?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
That was brought up at one time and we had some that was opposed to doing such.
That would be me, but that was because we did not have utilities there and I didn't want to sell property on the promise of utilities and jamming things up. That would have been reckless.
Okay, totally agree with that too. I mean, I'm sure your attorney agrees with that too.
We do have
That's
some.
what I'm asking now. Do we know?
So that was my
Did
next
that too.
question to you is that,
Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
So like the outside, we've got utilities to those at this point, I'm told. Do you think it's reckless just start selling the ones we've got utilities while we're still in the back working on utilities to the others?
No, it's not reckless, but you need to have a plan. And you need to make sure that you're
To continue development.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to keep it going.
Tammy, did you have?
I was just asking Jacob, we have utilities.
I
Okay,
think this is the outside.
Mark, Councilman Nordine.
I truly think we need a plan. We are planless really at this time and we need to move. I mean, we've got this, it's really a nice section. I think the plating is really wonderful. I think there's a potential for some really, for a great neighborhood. I mean, I think it looks pretty sharp. We may need to address some of the covenants, well, not covenants, but
Restrictions,
thank you.
the CCNRs,
Yeah,
conditions and restrictions, yeah.
those things.
Which that's a good idea. And I can help you with that. We can run our covenants by your attorney. We have covenants that we use all the time. So, but back to what Jake was saying, he's seen some of these subdivisions, and the subdivision that you saw, there were several houses in there that were super small. I mean, they're 800 square feet, and they can be nice looking subdivisions. So it's not, I want to make sure you guys, I leave you with this thought, and I can get you pictures or whatever you need, but they don't have to be gigantic houses to be good looking houses. And I think you'd be surprised at what the percentage is of people that can afford really big fancy houses and those that can't. It's really, and I think in your subdivision, the plating is very nice. I told Joel, I thought you guys did a great job with that. And I think that those lots are big enough for big houses, and then they're great. They're fine enough for small houses too. So.
But does the value of the big house go down next to a tiny house?
No.
You don't have our assessors.
Yeah, it's never happened. In fact, it's really interesting. I mean, you look at the subdivision he's been at is a great example. I mean, the movement of the increase in values in that subdivision went right along no matter what. And there's houses that are there's a house that sold for like 400,000. That was 2 houses away from a house that sold for 400,000, 200,000. And it didn't hurt this. In fact, it didn't even affect it because it's not a like property. And so it didn't even affect the $400,000 guy, and the market will shift. I mean, you guys, one of the biggest challenges that you're going to have, if we work together, would have is getting an appraiser that can understand new construction. It's not the same thing as existing
Yes.
homes and looking for comps. You don't have any comps. And so it'll be a process, and it won't always be easy and beautiful to start with, because you have to have something for somebody to be able to compare to. And until you have that, we have to figure that out.
Yeah. Lisa, do you have an appraisal that you're working with in Casper that's experienced with
We have
new
several,
home appraisals?
right? Yes. No, this is part of the lending stuff. Is
Okay,
that,
yeah, okay.
the lender has an appraisal panel.
Yes,
And that appraisal panel has to be approved. And then you can no longer just pick an appraiser. You have to let them be selected by this random, that's part of this
okay.
Dodd-Frank Act to happen back when they were having all the fraud stuff with mortgages. So we would have to deal with what we have, but
Okay.
hopefully they would be somebody that came out of Casper. That's where the most of the new construction is happening, so.
Do you have a?
Yes, please.
Do you
Mark.
have an example of what the zoning would look like that would include small homes?
Mhm.
That might be a good example for us to kind of tailor any rezoning that we would do.
Yeah, I do have that. Sure.
That would be
I can
awesome.
send you some stuff like that. And in fact, in Mills, we got them, they actually, when I started developing in Mills, because you guys have been to Mills,
Right.
it didn't used to be really that nice. Just saying. And now there's $1 million houses in Mills, if you can believe it. So it's changed a lot over the past 20 years. But we actually had them come up with a new zoning type. So there's a lot that you can do because the zoning that they had didn't fit what we were trying to do. So they said, well, we're just going to start this new thing called, I don't remember what it's called. And we listed out all the stuff that it would be. Part of it would be smaller houses and so forth. And you don't have to call them tiny homes because that's kind of a weird stigma. It's just a square footage thing. So does your zoning right now call for square footage?
On this development, it did.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can figure out something like that.
Yeah.
And I can send that stuff
I
over.
think we need some guidance.
Okay,
Yeah.
happy to help you. It won't happen right away. This is a lot. You guys got a lot to figure out, but yeah, we can get rolling. That's what you all decide.
Appreciate it. Anybody else, any questions?
No, thank you.
I
Yeah.
have just all these questions.
Okay, please go ahead, Mark.
So even with the timeline we're talking about, we're probably talking about starting to build, maybe it gets cold. You know, we're talking about winter, really.
Yeah.
Is that an issue?
None.
Okay.
The issues are making sure that there's, the right kind of concrete and that the builders know what they're doing, right? Well, I'm thinking probably concrete truck probably comes from Casper that's already used to working in Casper weather when it's cold. I mean, we pour concrete year round.
Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah.
traveling up here.
You bet.
Have a safe trip home. Well, I feel that was enlightening.
I agree with Jake. We need to get moving on that.
Get her signed up, I think.
But is that a motion
Do I need to make a motion?
or guidance? I mean, does council give me guidance to continue on or do we want, however you want to handle it?
Didn't she kind of say she was too booked up?
I would. No, she said she'd love to work with us.
She did say she was busy, but had a team that would be able to extend help. I think the only thing I would suggest is just what that operating rate is for her to help us. Which I don't think it matters at this point. But I mean, I think that's something that's gonna have to be figured out.
She hadn't charged us anything. I think she would get compensated if she sold something on
Right.
commission.
Right.
I thought we already did this, but I would make a motion to authorize the mayor to negotiate a contract with Lisa Burge to hire them as a realtor firm.
And bring the contract to the council.
Yes, to negotiate the contract
All
and
I
bring
would
it
be
to us
is
for
the
approval.
negotiating.
Yes.
She would be the realtor, Mr. Mayor. She would be the realtor, but also the developer. And I think the developer's step before the realtor.
Right.
I mean, so,
But I mean-
because the developer's gonna be the one that's gonna make sure the curbs are in, all the stuff, the rest of the foundation and infrastructure is established before they start building homes, which the realtor would then be involved at that point. So I would suggest changing that to include, at least include the developer and realtor.
Developing it, they've already made.
Well,
that.
I guess what I was meaning is that, my motion is to give the mayor authorization not to approve, but to negotiate a contract with Lisa Burge to get that land sold.
I would second that.
Mind if I
Please.
Yeah, the only,
Council.
and, clerk brought up. And the fact is that this isn't an actionable item. It's just, public presentations, but I do recall, and maybe we can go through the minutes, but I believe you all did vote on giving the mayor authorization to negotiate it in the first place.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think to be honest with you, all he needs to do is bring something back to you for the rest of you to decide on what you want, what you don't want.
In light of the,
And put it on the next meeting and vote. And then I'd also suggest if you're thinking about wanting to change the size of the homes or put in requirements, start looking at changing the ordinance in the beginning instead of trying to fix it later when things are starting to be built.
Yes.
Absolutely.
in light of the point of order, I would withdraw my motion.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we roll on something. Yeah, I'd forgotten. Very, very good. So. We got one more appearance?
Yes,
We do.
job clerk.
Job Corps, we'd moved that up. I hadn't written, I moved this. Mark Nordine would you please introduce?
So I would like to introduce to you Andrea Watson and Brian Fox. Andrea and Brian are with
Yes.
Job Corps in Bloomington. And we've been having discussions about the dirt work and construction types of projects we're looking at completing on the at the rifle range. And so it seems like a perfect match, and Job Corps has been totally willing to and really wanting to work with us as partners in this project. And I think that's really quite exciting to me. They're so as you know, I'm an educator, now retired for 6 weeks. Well, maybe 5 weeks. What? No, maybe 7 weeks. But anyway, but the idea here is that they have students and they have equipment and they need experience. And yes, we can give that to them. And I'm really excited about that. So it's not only the rifle range work, but also how else can we partner with Job Corps for the town, for the benefit of the town, and also for the benefit of the students. In the biology world, we call this mutualism, where everybody benefits. So Andrea, if you could take it from there.
Well, you just gave my whole presentation. Town Council, thank you for allowing us to join your meeting this afternoon. My name is Andrea Watson, as
Yes.
Councilman Nordine said. And I'm the Business and Community Liaison and Work-Based Learning Coordinator for Wind River Job Corps. And this is Brian Fox. He is our Heavy Equipment Operating Lead Instructor. We appreciate the opportunity to discuss how Wind River Job Corps can partner with the town of Shoshoni on meaningful community improvement projects. Projects like that benefit both the residents and our students. Wind River Job Corps is committed to preparing our young adults for successful careers through hands-on technical training and industry-recognized credentials and real-world experiences. One of the most valuable learning opportunities that we can provide for our students is a chance to work on actual community projects under the direct supervision of their instructors. Tonight, we'd like to discuss with you about our partnership about the Shoshoni Rifle Range Renovation and Expansion Project. As you all know, the Bureau of Land Management has already approved your town's request to renovate and expand the existing rifle range. After meeting with your town representatives, and that we've conducted a site assessment, we are excited about the opportunity for our heavy equipment operating students to assist with this project. Our students will have the opportunity to operate their heavy equipment while completing meaningful work and including moving and relocating a large amounts of earth, constructing and extending the shooting berms, grading the site, preparing and expanding the range according to the project's needs. Every aspect of the work will be supervised by our heavy equipment operating instructor to ensure that the project is completely safe and completed safely and appropriately and professionally. Wind River Job Corps will provide the equipment the student workforce and the instructor supervision. And as we've kind of discussed in other side meetings, that we would appreciate if the town would be willing to like help reimburse with fuel for our equipment to support the project in assisting with the drainage pipe. There was talks about some maybe donated piping for the drainage sites and other resources that we may need to complete the project. One aspect of the partnership that we are especially excited about with this opportunity is that while our equipment is already going to be over here in the gun range and locked up, and as you know, that transporting heavy equipment is both time consuming and costly. So while our students are over here and we want to make sure that we're still leaving time for the range to be open throughout the week, so that we would only construct a few days out of the week, and then there would be a few days that we wouldn't be doing construction. But that while our equipment is already over here, if there's any other projects that the town of Shoshoni is willing for us to help out with, like road grading, maintenance, town roads, site preparation for future community projects, drainage improvements, lot cleanup, leveling, community beautification efforts, and other earth moving or heavy equipment products that would support your town goals. That way we would kind of all win in the situation. Beyond our heavy equipment operating, Wind River Job Corps training also has several other trades, including heavy equipment mechanics, building construction technology, carpentry, electrical, welding, petroleum service technician, heavy truck driving, and medical foundations. As future projects arise, we would be happy to discuss working with you with our other programs as well. Partnerships like this are truly a win-win. Our students gain invaluable hands-on experience and prepares them for successful careers, while communities like Shoshoni benefit from the projects and improve public space and infrastructure. We hope that the rifle range project is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with the town of Shoshoni. We are committed to being being a dependable community partner and finding ways to support projects and making lasting impacts for residents while helping our students develop skills that they need to enter the workforce. Now, I had handed all you guys out a quick little impact statement. Just kind of gives you guys some statistics on our students. As of this morning, we just brought in new students on Monday. So as of this morning, we have 151 students at Wind River Job Corps. Since June 1st of last year, when we went on the pause, to June 1st of this year, we successfully have graduated and completed 96 students. Out of those 96 students, 59 of them are in full-time job, trade match jobs. 17 of them went into apprenticeships. 6 of them went to advanced training, 4 to college, and two to the military. In your little pamphlet here, gives you a little rundown on our work-based learning program and how we like to partner up with different organizations and employers throughout Fremont County. And then the last page there gives you a little bit about different community service projects that we have done here in the past and just recently. As you guys all know, last year, Wind River Job Corps came out and built the deck for the little girl that was fighting brain cancer. That was a combined effort with several of our trades. You know, our heavy equipment operators helped load all the equipment up. Our heavy truck drivers helped bring all the equipment out. And then our carpentry students built the deck. The town of Shoshoni, we finished installing their signs. Fun fact is that we actually built those signs for them several years ago, and then it came full circle when we installed their last sign. The Wind River Heritage Museum on the south end of Riverton, our carpentry department completely renovated their entire museum. We've been doing a lot of work here lately with the Riverton Rotary Club, doing park cleanup, community cleanups, different things like that. And if any of you have been paying attention to County 10 News, we just recently went and helped the Riverton Museum with some graffiti on their building with our heavy equipment operating and heavy equipment mechanics and our petroleum students.
No,
We are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
yeah, Wind River Job Corps has been a real asset to our region, to our county. It's I've been to several events, and it's very, very positive what's done, and we really appreciate you reaching out and for the win-win on to help out the communities throughout the county. Question, Mark? Councilman Dean?
So I think it's important that we as a town council and a town understand how this partnership can really be such a wonderful win-win for both the Job Corps and also for the town. It just makes sense. We had just finished our budget. Here it is. We got it done. By hook and crook, it's done now. But which took a lot of hard work to do. And as particularly with recent cuts by the state, with taxes and so forth, it's made things a little bit tight. But, Mike, this is really, are there projects that have perhaps getting put off because we don't have the personnel or the time to be able to get them done, and other things that we could do where Job Corps could come in and help with those types of projects? I think it'd be a great opportunity. And like Andrea was saying, the equipment's out here. I mean, the equipment's out here. I've been looking at some big equipment from different places in town, and just the transport of these things is just an amazing cost. So it's here. What can be done? What lots? We probably could talk about lots to be cleaned up. What could happen with that? I don't know about demolition, but maybe, I don't know. But I don't know what the extent of the projects would be. So I'm just asking us to be, as a town, to be thinking about, well, perhaps this is the opportunity to get these things done. And I'm just going, this could really work out great. Besides, who doesn't want to be in the Shoshoni in the summer? Or even the fall? I mean, it's I just think it's a great opportunity. I mean, students get to have that opportunity to do, and a lot of this, of course, all this is community service, because working on the rifle range to improve, enhance what we can do out there. I mean, that's a huge community service. What you could do in town with roads or lot cleanup or other things. Again, another huge community service. I just think that we need to have a discussion, and I just don't want it to be put on the shelf and go, oh, great, glad you were here, thanks. Go to the rifle range. We need to talk about it. We honestly need to talk about it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
No.
Anybody have any questions for us?
Do you have anybody building fence? Is
Our
a question.
carpentry and BCT students can help do fencing.
My students aren't against it either.
Could be some demolition at the airport. Just saying, thinking of things.
I think there's a lot of stuff in this town that we can probably put together. I think the catcher will be what that balance looks like on the partnership for the fuel costs, more or less, and make sure we can help cover that before we commit to you starting. At least that's my perspective. I think you could probably keep you busy all summer. Just the fact of where does it fit in the budget? And we might like this project, but the budget says, well, we probably should do this one type thing. But I think the idea of you guys coming over here and helping is huge for us, huge for your students to get hands-on training, and I think it's a win, just as long as we can finagle it in there and be able to make sure it's fitting for you.
Yeah, there.
Councilman Stedler?
Do you guys have a water truck?
We certainly.
We do.
Our roads are in bad.
We got a blade,
Hey.
a water truck, a loader, some mini X's, dozers.
That was one of the things that Councilman Nordine noticed when he came to our center, was that we have a water truck.
Trying to get the brakes fixed on it.
Yeah, I'm feeling like we could afford to come up with some fuel money for them roads.
Yep.
And we're my kids, after coming out here and seeing the shooting range and that whole project, they have not been quiet since. They want to get out of Job Corps in the worst way and come do real life things and learn real life stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to make the name for Job Corps for themselves as students better. And be a part of these communities. Some of these guys are sticking around and not leaving. They're staying here and getting jobs and starting to become part, and they may be one of the people that buy your guys' mini houses. You never know. But a lot of good kids and good potential coming out of this place.
Councilman Nordine?
So just this real quick, what was awesome when this project got brought up to the rifle range, not only committee, but also the club. The club is full of retired heavy equipment operators. And so Brian graciously said, and I'd love to have you and your experience on the site with us to be able to go through and help guide. And if you see something that needs to be changed, tell us, stop them, I'll help, and so, I mean, these are guys that have been working in the field for, 30 plus years. They do know how to move a dozer every now and then,
Yes, sir.
and do the different projects and different things. So anyway, that part, they are really excited about helping out as well. They just, so Joe and I have been having conversations with, both Matt Shirk and Bill Snap about how this is all going to work. And right now, we're just really trying to make sure we have the right equipment to do the job, which I think we probably do. So, but anyway, everybody that in my sphere, they're going, let's do this, let's get it done. So that's exciting.
Councilman Harkey, any comments? Questions?
No, you asked the one about the fence. I was gonna ask. this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal that question.
Might be a couple hangers that need to be done away with as well.
Well, we're definitely not against fence, guys. I got augers too, different pole augers and everything else. I think it's all part of these equipment operators to learn how to put a fence around the pads they built too. So
Yeah.
definitely not against it.
And I don't know, do you guys want us to try to come up with an estimate on fuel? I know that Brian and Mark had previously discussed red fuel.
Yep. Red dye.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Councilman.
my guys are going, just kind of what would that cost a month to be? And we've had some of those discussions with Brian too, but it's, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm actually making some notes. We've been running pretty heavy. I had some family emergencies last week, but I've been keeping track of all my machines that I got out in our training pads right now. And these kids are running them and paying attention to the hard run and how many gallons we're putting back in it. So I'll kind of have a little bit more of an estimate for you on that side of what these machines are using as far as gallons per hour or whatever. But I also talked to the union. I work for Job Corps. I'm also what they call an NTC, a national training contractor. So I contract to the Job Corps through the IUOE, which is the International Union of Operating Engineers. I've spoke to them about this with pretty big excitement as well. And they're definitely okay with us using some of our funding to bring out, 100, 200 gallons of diesel a day to come out and assist with a little bit of this and kind of make things easier on Shoshoni too. So we do have a little bit of assistance, not huge, but it is a little bit.
Do you guys have a bulk tank that you can move around, or do we gotta come up with one?
Nope, I got a bulk tank. We'll throw in our little work pickup truck we got when we start this project, and I'll just kind of bring it back and forth and fill up out of our big 2,000 gallon tank up at Job Corps every
So
morning.
we could reimburse you for fuel rather than trying to round up a tank and fuel, or maybe prepay or whatever, but
Yeah, we could, and we also partner with Bailey, so maybe it's something I can do is reach out to Bailey himself and ask him if he could bring us a tank out here on site and maybe work something on delivery with it. Maybe part of his contribution, I don't know. Well, I'll reach out to him and make some phone calls about that.
cause that'd be, I mean, we'd kind of really, it'd be the best if we had a bulk tank sitting here for you.
I agree, 100%.
Clerk?
Can I just ask, how do you handle liability?
So with our MOU, and Mark has a copy of our MOU that we would have to have signed before we could come and do some work for the city. It basically states in there that if a student is injured or anything on the job, they fall under our workman's comp.
Okay.
Pass that down to Kim.
You read it.
Yeah. I look over. It's gonna be more Marshall.
Got intercepted by the lawyer.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
And if they are blading down a road and wipe out somebody's fenced car or dog, is that also covered under your insurance?
So we would also, I believe I also included in there a waiver of liability form, because you guys have got to understand that these are not licensed contractors, these are students.
Right, yes.
And I'm very cautious as well. I know these kids' skill levels per thing. So I don't just throw them on any machine, say, hey, go blade this off, We make sure they have some training hours behind them. If it is a newer student, we're gonna be right there with them. And we're talking hard hats, high vis. Safety is number one, and I am 100% OSHA certified and trained as an instructor and as OSHA trained myself. So that's our number one. Safety is everything, and keeping everybody's things intact. So, been at Job Corps for a year and a half, haven't had one incident.
I do the same thing when I'm teaching a pistol class. Please, no, we don't, no injuries, no injuries.
Yeah.
Wood don't do you no good. You gotta knock on glass. It'll save your.
Anybody have any other questions? Comments?
Appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks a lot
for having us.
Just keep in touch with us so that we can know, what you guys want to do, when you guys want to get started, how you guys want to go about it.
That was another question.
Go ahead.
Your timeline, how far out in advance we need to have this?
Right now, you guys are the biggest project sitting in front of my trades. So we're not the biggest thing that's holding us back is I am down one instructor right now. My operators program is a 2 instructor program. I'm running it just myself. There is a guy hired. We're just waiting for all the legalities.
Background
check. The
checks.
Department of Labor, they've got to jump through all kinds of hoops to get there. So
Councilman Nordine.
I'm sorry, I forgot to add. So in our conversations, I got to meet the carpentry, instructor, and they're very excited about redoing the shooting line, covers thing. So, I mean, the idea would be to totally remove all the shooting structures we have right now and replace those. So we get the same look and feel from the new rimfire range, which is coming. That's going to be so cool, all the way down through the trap range. It's going to be a sharp looking range when we're all said and done. Just so you know. Sorry.
But yeah, the enthusiasm of your students when we met out at the range was really, really good. They really seemed like they wanted to jump out and get to work.
They do. They,
Yes.
if we would let them go out there and start tomorrow, they would be out there bright and early.
But it's encouraging to see that enthusiasm that they get out a job and do it. Really appreciate you.
I can't shut up, sorry, but it was so funny when they came out and they were looking at the range. What was really cool is there were a couple of students that were from Houston. This is one of our, we're in that hot week, hot day sorts of periods. And I said, are you guys okay with this heat? And they looked at me and said, this is nothing. This is nothing.
I did ask them if they knew the directions of Texas from Shoshoni.
Yeah, did they know?
Huh?
Did they know?
Well, they did after I got done with them. I said, you go east till you smell it, south till you step into it. They laughed. Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you.
Very good. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
What's your friends? I'd rather do small the beds at the bottom.
We down to number
12.
department head, please.
Before move on, mind if I make a comment?
Oh, please do. Excuse me, Councilman.
Yeah, so
Counselor,
just,
or-
not saying that you should or shouldn't, I just want the council to understand that according to their MOU and from the conversation as I understand it, if something were to happen where there's damage or harm to someone outside of their employee, basically, or the student, the town is all intents and purposes, the employer, and the town is responsible just as if it was one of our own employees for that MOU. They're
Yes.
responsible for any harm that happens to the student, and the student's covered, but anybody outside of that would be covered just like as if the town employee had caused the harm. So I just want the council to be aware of that.
Okay.
Good news is out at the rifle range, there ain't a whole lot. to
Yep,
harm.
not a lot. And we're, as a municipality, we're relatively protected unless we do something negligent.
That may have been in reference to the blading of the road question I had. Marshall's clarification on if they hit a parked car with the
Right.
blade. Or something of that nature, then the town would be liable.
Yes. As we would have put our own welfare, yeah.
And as other projects come up, I think communication is key, particularly if we're doing that in town. And so we could set up a program where basically public service announcements. On the 6th of whatever, the Job Corps is going to be here. They'll be grading your road, 4th Street, 5th Street,
Park elsewhere.
just cover all bets.
Unless you
Run,
want a new car,
whatever.
then put it out there, no.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we can, as long as people know what's going on, I think they'll be very supportive. I'd move my car, so.
Oh,
They
it
did
sounds
that
like,
in Denver. They let us know they were gonna. Riverton won't do it. They'll just around your car and you have no idea when they're coming. Sad. Big city can do it, but
Yeah, if we could just let people know, just let people know.
yeah,
sounds like they got plenty of supervision and education. They don't just cut them loose.
No, they don't. They're there. It's
Okay.
basically a big lab and it just happens to be Shoshoni is their lab. No, they're there.
Move on to 12, department head report. Police?
Well, I already had the one thing that we had here a month and a half ago. So, that training we put all the officers through, with the ambulance and stuff, and getting all the officers at least a basic level of responsiveness as a first responder, obviously as pays off in Shoshone with, our proximity to ambulance care. So that's something that we continue to be proud of having put forth with every officer, at least having a basic level of training. Not everyone's an EMT, but having that basic level of being able to recognize and give some higher than just random first aid care to people. I think that's a testament to the officers and serving the community. We had a extraordinarily busy June. It was by and large the busiest June that we've had since I've been here, from traffic to calls for service to warrants, other types of crimes and things of that nature. It's just been, it was a busy start to the summer. It's continued on into July, so I expected July to once again be the busiest July all around. Maybe not the busiest in number of arrests or the busiest in number of citations, but just from top to bottom, we're just busy for the most part. So having a full staff has been nice to have for the whole summer so far. And it's been a blessing to be able to respond to everything and do all the different things that we do. As we transition into school, continue to work with the school district on the SRO and the grant funding through the Department of Justice. I did have a meeting with them today and identified funding. I know they had some changes to the legislature and the school funding model, which impacted their abilities. So they're trying to scramble. But we did identify the funds that are available, and then in conjunction with the COPS grant that was submitted, that will alleviate that first year to kind of give them time to be able to figure out where they're going to be. And also agree to a 4-year contract with the town that maintains the same level of expectations that was originally negotiated last year, but it was only a year to year lease, and this one would, or not lease, but agreement. This would be for 4 years. And it maintains the onus for funding on the school district, not the town per se, but obviously we did help for a little bit last year with some of the cost share that we did. That ended in June. So they're currently paying 100% right now. But having that agreement in place, I think, shows their commitment to continuing on. So I'm comfortable with the progress we've made there with the school. That's
Anybody
about it.
got questions for the chief? Well, appreciate the hard work and great job your officers are doing in yourself, and keep up the good work. And yeah, we finally got where we wanted to be, right, chief?
I think so.
Yeah,
So far.
yep, very good. Move down to resolution. Nobody else had any other questions, or? Move on to resolution 2026 dash 0011. We're gonna table that, aren't we? At this time? So let's move on down. Unfinished business. Senior housing lease modified. What do we have there?
Did you, I didn't get anything. Did you email me
Yeah, a few weeks ago.
a
I-
few weeks ago?
Yeah, after the last meeting. I made that change, those changes. Thought I had. No, I made the changes.
I
Do we
have so
move, do we
many
need to move that to our
copies.
next meeting?
Yeah, probably, because I have some other things on it that I want to go through. I want to go through it with Marshall
Okay,
before so we don't have to keep tabling.
very good. We'll just move that down to our next regular meeting. New business. Wyoming Community Bank signatories. Kim?
These are these are signatures to get Jake and Tammy added to our Wyoming Community Bank account for our water sewer enterprise funds. And so I just need the council's approval to do so.
Can I have a motion to approve Councilwoman Hartke and Councilman Stedler to be signatories on the Wyoming Community Bank? Which fund is that?
Water sewer enterprise funds.
Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund.
Make a motion to do such.
Moved by Councilman
Unless they don't,
Whitener.
unless they don't want that responsibility. You never know. Some people don't.
Can I have a second?
I will second.
Been seconded by Councilman Nordine. Any further discussion? None.
I guess, is this something we should abstain from? I don't know. We don't gain
we
from
don't
it.
know.
We don't
Oh,
gain
yeah.
from it in any way.
You gotta work.
It's more responsibility is all of
Yes.
it. All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Town real estate, library building, police mobile home and land. I don't know, the library building. Chief Kojai did come up with an idea for that we might be able to convert that to a community building that, why don't you describe a little bit, chief, your vision of that?
Well, we were a while ago, Councilman Jordan talked about turning the library here in this building into a weight room, basically. And at the same time, the police department was looking at some grants, and we got some donation of gym equipment to have a fitness room or center, if you want to call it that. And originally we were looking at the police old building, the old mobile home, but it's just not suitable with the size, the condition, and just there's lots that would need to take place to be able to convert that into a suitable exercise area. However, the library, obviously it's a very wide open floor plan. There's no walls really. There is a bathroom in there, and there's, some basic areas that for cleaning up and after working out and whatnot. But the wide open floor plan, and it's a lot more stable. And then turning that into something that would be available for the general public, the community to use as a community center. I mean, we could charge $5 a month or whatever just to maintain the building, the premises, and give those that live in Shoshone something more to use than just the senior center, or the school is very limited when you can actually go up there and use it as it is. So next nearest gym is Thermopolis or Riverton, which is kind of inconvenient, when you're trying to work or whatever to be able to work out. So it would be something that's more available to the general public and actually give somebody, not somebody, but give the people of Shoshone something more to do than currently available. And we do have received some grants for some new equipment to purchase from the law enforcement group that was formed in Riverton. I can't remember the acronym off the top of my head, sorry. But they provide funding to purchase, weights and machinery and things of that nature. And we were also given a lot of donation from Lander PD. When they upgraded their gym equipment, they gave us a lot of their old stuff that Mike Letch and Bart and Megan went and picked up here about a month and a half ago. That's sitting at the town shop right now needs a home. And so that was about 2,000 square feet. So that would be able to actually give the community something that's available for the community to use.
Develop, wellness center,
Yep.
a wellness center. Yeah.
I think we should put a hot tub in there and,
In there.
Sauna.
maybe a sauna. We would thought of that one.
Yeah, we would, need to figure out where to put it and be some costs enough, but I think it'd be a good thing for the community to have something like that here. I was recently in Du Bois, and Du Bois has one, but it's privately owned, but they have a nice little center up there. They do, but yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
So, when I was at the college, our campus security director, Chuck Carr, I mean, he was an early bird, so he would always go to the Lander police workout room, and he was always the guy had just arms like Jordan, and not like me. I mean, it was really pretty impressive. But anyway, this guy, but it makes sense for police, to be the founding for that, because who's going to be the front line in Shoshone dealing with difficult cases? It's going to be our police department. So fund officers we have. So I think it's a great idea, and being able to open that up for people that would like to use that, I think it's another great idea. I know Joe and I are we're repeat, you might say we're repeat offenders. Is that the right way at Gotchi, the physical therapy folks? And they're not doing it here. They're only there Tuesday and Thursday, but in Thermopolis, they have a wellness center that's going 5 days a week, and they have 2 people that are really staffing that facility. They have a walking track. It's all on a basin, so it's a short walking track, but they have a walking track. They've got fitness equipment. They've got classes that they teach. They do all sorts of stuff, and it's a great setup. It really is a great setup to do. Sure. And to be able to provide something like that in Shoshone just really makes sense. It's another, frankly, it's another value added to living in Shoshone. I mean, it really is. And even if people don't use it, the fact that it's there is a value added.
Right.
You know, and people will use it. You know, the
Yeah.
price is clearly right, but it's one of those, again, value added for our community, which just makes sense to me. I like the idea.
Yes, Councilman Stadler.
Although I agree with everything you're saying, it is also Shoshone, and so the first thing that's gonna happen is somebody's gonna wanna vandalize it. So we'll have to make a contention for that. I think, are we thinking having it manned or have a,
We have cameras on.
I would say a security camera up at Shoshone, so it's like that old Jeff Foxworthy. Could you describe the suspect? Yeah, it was Larry. But
Larry.
or whatever the name, you know,
That
that,
kind of Larry.
whatever.
I'd like to say I walked around the one in DuBois for a good 5 minutes. No one was ever there.
Oh, well, I don't know that we need it, man. That's what I was wondering what the thought was on having some kind of
Oh, we definitely have to put some kind of.
surveillance. I mean,
Surveillance.
nobody wants to be working out on camera, at least I don't, but still, we have to have some protection for the town.
What's your thoughts on it, Tim?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be something that the police department can get in with these young kids and get them to be into it with them. And I know Jordan likes to work out. I've seen him do that at the school, and
Mhm.
I think he could work with the kids too.
I've spent a little bit of time on this with Megan and Jesse. Just trying to hear the police department's perspective, but those guys have all mentioned that it would be an asset to have, especially for our police department, as now they're currently paying $55 or $60 a month-ish to work out at one of the facilities in Riverton. And some do more than others. I think Megan's probably the 5-day-a-week type gal, and the other guys are just kind of maintaining, if you will. But they all have said that if this was here and they had relative immediate access to it, that they would utilize it on a daily basis rather than a sub-daily basis. So I was just trying to come up with an idea, and I started kind of thinking that there's a few different ideas. The one was, like Chris mentioned, potentially utilizing this library space that's here. And that would be in this building in there, based off the amount of equipment that's needed. It's a option. I don't think talking to Melissa, the library is not utilized other than one patron. So the other option was the library building. That was the old library.
I don't know if Jordan, I don't know if what we're using is the media center and library one, if that's a big enough space, that'd be Mulligan's, I think that.
Yeah, well, the idea behind this was talking with these guys is it doesn't need to be bigger than any hotel gym. It's not like there's gonna be 60 people in there at one time. It's gonna be utilized by a handful of people here and there, different times, etc. It's not gonna be like people in there working out at Teton where there's 75 people at one given opportunity. It's gonna be, like I said, 3 or 4 people at one given time, and that's all that the equipment that we have that would allow for it anyway. So, and even if you expand, and Megan has got essentially a grant that is quasi a done deal through that department that Chris was talking about, that I think the wives of the police officers actually started it. But in Fremont County to buy more, and then she actively was front running to find equipment, and that's where she found the lander equipment. So they got rather old, bought new. A lot of it's still in great shape and usable. Unless it continues to sit out. And then it won't be worth much to anybody. So Problem is need a place for it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
you know, and I think we need commercial grade equipment,
Yes, agreed.
not consumer grade, commercial grade stuff that could really stand up and last and work. You know.
Well, the beautiful thing about some of that extra money from for equipment that support the police from ICE can be used to purchase that too. So that's a nice thing to do. There's
It is, and you know, in the library, you could also create a space, you know, a mat space for different types of classes as well. Someone, maybe there's somebody in the area that's certified in a certain type of whatever, I don't know, it could be any sort of exercise program. And just offer classes through there too. I mean, getting people, the community to be able to go in and take fitness classes or have somebody who's in there Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, offering just a normal fitness class, and you've got people that could do that.
That could take care of a lot of the security issues also.
Sure. Anyway, just some thoughts.
And that would give us the ability to still do something else with the library building.
Yeah.
As long as everybody's comfortable, that's enough. I mean, yeah, that's a great idea, Jordan.
Don't think so. Having that right next to Melissa's office where people, it's hard enough to hear on the other side of that glass. I think it's a good idea. I think it's too close in proximity. It always would have to have the door shut.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
you know, I understand that room might not be used all that often, you know, but that space could be a nice conference room space.
Could be.
I'm just saying that's. You know, for meetings that Joe and I do with our A2A, we have them at our house right now, which is fine. You know, we don't mind that, but it's space we could use for something like that. Town meetings, you know, our small
Mhm.
stuff, not town council meetings, but just meetings from the subcommittees that we've got in town. Like this. And you need a whiteboard. Sorry, just gotta have a whiteboard.
Yes.
Another thought, if we're using the old library, does it have what's it got? It's got a bathroom. Has it got a shower? I mean, if we're looking at our police officers that don't necessarily live right handy, maybe before or after a shift, I would assume if you're working out properly, you're sweaty. But I wonder, while we're figuring this out, we should maybe not a public shower, but like a shower stall for like the police officers or something to be able to burn through there.
I'm sure we could, I
mean,
mean,
I've
plumb for it. I mean, there was a
Wouldn't
time
take
we were
much.
looking at with Brad Brink on converting it into, you know, put some walls up and potentially turning it into like a 3-bedroom residential. And so it's got the plumbing back there. You just have to put the stall in, really is all you have to do to have it.
should be
Yeah.
fairly inexpensive and probably a great asset.
So I mean, I'd imagine fairly inexpensive and simple to do as far as the layouts.
For like a
are there.
law enforcement shower.
Yeah, everybody else can, you know, go home.
Right, exactly. Otherwise, now we gotta hire a cleaning crew to be in there scrubbing the shower walls every day.
What shower shoes are for.
But you know, it's, you have, you know, one with the senior center, that you touched on, like Mark, they don't like their bike up. They don't have the quality, the commercial grade equipment in there. That's a little bit of an issue, but I don't know, great idea. We gotta figure out what to do with it. Where to put it, we would.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
So I would think that with the grants that Chief Kojai is talking about, it makes sense to me that And I'm assuming that this is what you were talking about anyway, taking the lead on trying to see how that would all fit and work
Right.
together. I mean, Megan sounds like, Officer Megan sounds like the person who would, let's design it for her. If she's happy with it, then I think all the rest of us would be too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there would be room to have, whatever machines, Stairmasters, treadmills, stationary bicycles in one area, then you could have areas, space for, bench, free weights, and like maybe a Smith machine. And then you could have the cables on the other side, and then you can throw in whatever additional equipment that's acquired over whatever period of time could be able to be put in there over time.
Should we just sort of work towards that? Do we all agree that's a good idea?
I think so.
And figure it's we'll work on it and see what we can figure out. The next down the line, it used to be the old cop shop, the mobile home. Any thoughts on it? Would there be a place for that on the rifle range or? Mark? Any thoughts on? Just a question.
Yeah, that's a good question. The advantage of having that trailer out there would be, I mean, it could be used as a club space, which.
That's what I'm
okay.
thinking.
But what we have electricity out there, but we don't have any water or sewer. So that could be.
Initially, yeah.
Yeah, and so we have that out there, I think that would be fine.
And it's got an AC unit with it.
That even sounds better. So,
I would encourage you to walk through that thing before you committed to accepting it.
Oh, don't do that, Joe. Don't do that.
FYI. Mark.
well,
It needs work.
and
Yeah.
thank you for that warning, so Ms. Mayor, I admit this is my vision for the rifle range, but I really want it to be a place that people really want to come to. And when you go to, doing some trap shooting, different locales across the state, and, a well-established, put-together club has a nice clubhouse. They've got restrooms, they've got a kitchen, they've got some other stuff. I don't know that we need the kitchen. That just sounds like a big mess to me, but, having the restrooms, the water, places to have your meetings. I mean, all that stuff makes sense. And is this trailer the right one? I don't know.
I don't either. That's why I asked.
But that would be the eventual goal that I would hope that we could aspire to for the range. And the reason I want to redo all the shooting structures is, again, same look and feel. So we're not looking for it to be a place to dump a trailer, but looking for a place that could really enhance not only utility, but also fit in. Fitting in to me is important. It's got to look good. People got to come here, want to come here.
Yeah. Yeah, and that may not be a bit, but worth looking at. We need to try to figure out something to do with that. Land, we'll move on. We'll kind of review that. We had some land we brought up. Lip rippers for one. The old Shoshoni Motel site, and then we got 5 acres. That's approximately 5 acres. We have surveyed. They're just west of town off Herbst Lane. I really think we need to be selling that property. We haven't done very well with our economic development. I really think we need to look at that again and reconsider that, and I think we need to sell it.
Did we even advertise it for economical development since we made that decision?
Clerk, have we advertised that at all?
No. Rippers?
Yeah.
Not
None
that
of
I
that.
know of.
Any of it, huh?
And or
We didn't have a
liabilities.
realtor or anything like that, so.
But I think we need, listed for,
Economic
and I think we need to
development, that's what we
sell it.
agreed on,
I think we need to sell
Under economic development.
it. I think we made a mistake, Councilwoman. I think we made a mistake. We haven't had very good luck in our history, of doing that. I think we need,
So who,
because if, see, through economic development, it ties the realtor's hands on trying to sell the property. If, I think we need to sell it. And,
And who's the realtor?
huh?
Who's the realtor?
We don't have a realtor yet. We could, I'm sure Lisa would help us with that if we ask her.
so who do you have in mind is my guess? You-
Well, I
you have
haven't-
Somebody that's approached you to buy it or?
No, I have no idea. I think we need to put it up for sale and sell it. I have no one's approached me to buy any of the properties, but I think we should be moving
I
that
think we
property.
need to advertise it under economical development first,
I
and
think
then see what happens. At least give it a month.
Nothing sells in Shoshoni in a month, I'll tell you that.
Well,
But
you know,
I think a
we haven't
reasonable
even
amount of time that we find necessary. We already made the motion and approved the motion for it to be economic development.
I think that was a mistake. I truly believe we should put it up for sale and sell it.
decided.
I'm asking for a motion to what the,
I think it's reasonable to, since we've already moved that, let's try it under economic development for a reasonable amount of time. I would agree with Tammy on that. And I'd also suggest in the process that, we had the power sports dealers coming from Casper looking at spaces here. With the cardiology clinic, where the land is a part of that deal and it's part of the economic development that go with that. Why don't we do something with him to do, maybe the property, either the 5 acres, which may be too much, or half of that, or maybe work out a situation where the old motel got torn down. I still think that would be a good location for,
They didn't want it.
but we also didn't say we'd make him a deal on it either.
Yeah, they did.
Did we? I didn't know we did, but it just might be worth, like what Lisa said earlier.
I agree with you though, but doing a 4-wheeler rental place right in the dead center of town, trying to get tourists to stop around a 4-wheeler don't make any sense. Unless, are you gonna rent them a truck and a trailer to haul it out of city limits? I mean,
Side by side, they drive like a normal vehicle on the street.
Well,
if they have it licensed and insured.
Well, that's what he said they would do.
And for the rentals.
Yeah.
Well, and they were wanting the corner lot anyway. That's pretty much in the middle of town.
Well, that was my point is why would a 4-wheeler rental place need to be right in the middle of town?
Why would a Wyoming cardiopulmonary need to be right in the middle of town?
I think you fairly well explained that.
Location, I think
I think
that's exactly why he wants.
4-hour meeting last week, indicated there ain't no talking, there's no discussion about this. There's no give, so I'm not even gonna talk.
Okay, so. then
Anyway.
Your point's invalid.
So if, so we,
You can
Where's our
stare at me
clerk
all you
go?
want. I can stare too.
but
I just
we
think
can,
we need to. give
excuse
you-
me,
However you wanna handle it.
excuse me. You want to bring a point up? Councilman, would you like to bring a point up?
Yeah, I do.
Go
The
ahead.
point is just like Wyoming cardiopulmonary. That piece, that corner is appealing to anybody that's trying to have a business. For the same exact reason. Same reason Tim Davis wants his business on a corner. Because it is a crossroads here. It's not only a crossroads for Wyoming, but it's a crossroads for a lot of our Midwest, if you will. So that is why it is a prime location for anything.
Anyway, so we'll move on if the general consensus that we need to have our clerk advertise this property for sale under economic development. And see if we have any interest. Agree.
I think the thing that we might note is that we should set some sort of potential time limit that if we don't have any interest in X amount of time, that then we can look at what's best for that property if it's not gaining any traction.
Yeah.
Let's give it 3 months and see how it does.
I think 60 days would be plenty if we don't have any traction in 60 days.
I like the 3 months. Nothing sells in 30 days around here.
I think 60, if we don't have any interest in 60 days,
No, I think 3 months.
I think 60 days is plenty. I think those are, okay, the one property has a building on it, so that's more difficult to sell. I mean, with following. But the vacant properties are a lot easier to sell following state statute. Do you lighten us on that on Marshall?
Say that again.
If it has a property has a building, like the Shoshoni property does have a building on it, it's a little more, maybe a little more difficult to sell than.
Legally, the only difference is you can't sell it through a realtor
Right,
for a set price.
right,
You can auction it or you can do
Correct.
economic development.
okay,
Can't sell it for a set price through.
go ahead.
And the
Councilman.
building would, so like that old hotel, motel property that has that little shed shop,
Mhm.
garage structure, that would be considered a building.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has to be a the most you can have to it is utilities.
Okay.
So. Do we just, we can. I just trying to figure out the best way to get. If we get a realtor legally involved with the advertisement call, I know we had. Networking, I just don't know, so we're reaching more people than just what we have around here, is what I'm trying to get at, so it'd have a better opportunity to sell. I'll work with Marshall on that and make sure we're following.
Still under economic development.
Yeah, under economic development, make sure we're following state statutes and everything, try to sell the property.
And that we make sure we keep it advertised for 3 months. Because it's gonna take a couple of weeks to get it straightened out, so we might as well make it 3 months.
Well, I'm saying we have it advertised for 60 days. Actually advertised for 60 days.
Mark agreed on 3 months.
I make a motion that we give it 3 months.
I'll second it.
Been moved and by Councilman Whitener, second by Councilwoman Hardkey, that we give it 90 days on the market. That's what you're correct.
Yes.
Any discussion? Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same? Aye. Motion passed. Water meter purchase, let's move on down the line. Everybody got one of these in front of them? Uh, Mike, do you want to talk about this a little bit? I got Mike and Bart.
Yeah, it's on these meters here, we were wondering what you guys all want. Do you guys want, how you want them installed? Our recommendation was we want them out of the houses in our right of way. So we have better access to them. Because right now we have hard time getting in them. And the ones that have broken, I've seen a couple here that broke and flooded out the basement. They were running until that basement got full. And when they come out of the window, that's when we knew it was broke.
It's one
So,
way.
you know, that's the problem with the meters being in the house. These vacant houses. So, I mean, that's the best way I can explain it. I mean, that's the only way we noticed it was broke. So, it's how, you know, where would you guys like to have them put? Like I tell Bart and Mike, that we're just caretakers. The council is the owners of the system. We only take care of it. You guys are decision makers. So it's up to you guys where you want us to install. Well, we can make a recommendation. Like I said, we recommend we put them outside on our right of way. So we can have access to them easier. And some of them, we can't get in there because of dogs. People have let their dogs out and go to work. And we can't get in there. Sometimes we have to make appointments to get in because people are not home during the day. So that's, you know, our recommendation, we put them out on our right of way. Make it easier for us, but that's you guys' decision. I mean, we can start putting them back in the houses or whatever. I mean, that's up to you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
It's
please,
really up to you
Councilman.
guys.
Do we have an idea of what the cost difference would be with the pit and the run? For you to be able to put them out in the right of way as opposed.
Well,
to-
with the pits, I got enough, quote from Ferguson that for 330 pits would be 294,000. That's for the pit, the lid, the insulation, and the compression couplings.
So I think that probably answers the question.
So,
I don't know.
yeah, so that's what I got a quote for from Ferguson. I requested one from Warren, Maine, but Patrick never sent me one. He said he was working on it, but he's never responded. But
How
that's-
many new pits would we actually need, do you think?
How
Can't
many?
can't we use some of our old ones or yes or no? No?
Well, we use the old ones, and we would like to use the ones that, the new ones, we have got coils.
Coils. We can-
That, so we just pull them up, we don't have to dig them, anything back up. If we use the old one, we're gonna have to go in and if anything breaks down, we have to dig it up. That's why we wanna get away from the old ones. We want to go to the coil type.
Okay.
It's
Obviously,
easier to access.
right. Well, my question, do we need all new ones is my question. Can we use?
Probably. Just to
Okay,
do the coil.
okay.
There is some coil ones out there. Mike knows where they're at.
So would it be $300,000 for the pits plus 143,000 for the meters?
Yeah, 294.
Yeah, 294 for the pits and then 143 more
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah.
So we're talking
500.
500,000 almost.
Yeah.
But you're already, we're gonna have, I mean, all the pits we already got. You either gotta replace them. or you're
Respect
gonna
close
have
to
to
the
put-
neck, Mike.
Or you'd have to go into the house and totally redo their plumbing in there to put a meter. If you took out the pits altogether. So if you're gonna replace those old pits, you're already halfway
Well, that's what I
through.
thought when this guy was, I asked him very specifically that very question. And he was alluding to that, no, that these would be interchangeable and be able to be installed without the need for $300,000 worth of additional stuff. So
Well, that's why I
I'm
brought up,
confused now because that was the whole basis of what we planned on, something around that framework. This, it blows the whole assumption that we had away.
well, that's why I brought up what I brought up, because the meter is fairly inexpensive, but the issue was the pit and the run. And so when everyone was saying $300 to $500 on the meter, they weren't calculating that the pit and the run was an additional $1,500. But when I also asked him that question, I didn't get a straightforward that it was,
that's
what I gathered was that the meters now can be interchanged with this particular meter. And what he answered was that they could put the reading system on a lot of the meters we currently had.
yeah, that was my understanding.
Not the pit run
Yeah.
situation. So that was still an issue that I was. But
Well,
in his quote here, Mark circled it, 0 hidden fees.
Except
That's a big.
So where's our 330?
He might not have known how many pits we had already.
I have no
I
idea.
think we're have to circle back on this one because this is non-starter financially right now.
isn't this an electronic system anyway? I mean, they talked about having for lack of better words, a control panel, somewhere in our facilities here that they were able to say, well, all of our meters are working except for these 4.
Oh,
you know?
they're off the cellular, yeah.
Okay,
So they were
so,
off the cellular tower.
but the point is that it's out of the basement. It's here and.
Well,
I mean, if you have to service it,
the meter itself isn't.
yeah, I understand that, but once it's installed, then we're monitoring it from here and. If it needs work, then. Call and make an
See-
appointment and we'll get the dogs in.
See, yeah, my understanding is everybody else is that we could. We could install. This equipment in basically of what we had in our own boxes. And my question, if we moved them. How many boxes we need if we have them? There's not many of them in houses, but a few. I have one in my house in the basement. And how many boxes that would be, but he said that with most of our pits we could use, but you're saying he didn't really understand what we had for pits, is what you're saying?
Well, the pits we have now, they're not a coil. You gotta dig them up to be able to change the meter.
Okay,
And then you put it back together with the old pit. You're right back. Something happens to that, or you lose a freeze plate, you have to dig the whole thing up to be able to work on the meter.
Mr. Mayor,
yes,
so I guess the question that I would like to know is. It sounds like, like you said, you're halfway there already, if you're having to dig that up, I get that. So how many of those are there? I mean, that's really the question, because I know nothing about meters and where they're installed and how that all works, but. To really come up with a viable estimate, we need to know just how many of those there would be.
You kind of had a number on how many pits we had, didn't you? I don't remember what it was.
I can't remember. Actually. Well, there's some that are on the old lots too, that there's no building or anything. There's some pits there too that I haven't counted, so I don't know. 'Cause those ones I was thinking, well, we have worried about that if they ever sell them or build something. So those I didn't count.
Well, Mark can look at it too. There's at least half the Townsend pits.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
We could change the ones out in the houses with, like he said, just interchange it. And that for.
Except for some that you can't access. in the
Yeah,
house.
well, there's a couple that I can't fit through the crawl space.
Crawl space about that way.
Who built that?
None of us can.
But yeah, there's some that we can't do unless we dig it up. That's about half of them.
And Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go
So
ahead.
if I recall correctly, the replacing just the reading part of the meter. He said, yeah, you can do that. He didn't recommend it and it wasn't in his bid. Wasn't in his quote, but there is the option where he said the little magnet and all that will work with this new meter that should bolt right
Yeah,
on.
the
The old ones
register.
where you don't have to dig up the pit. But he didn't quote us any of that. And that's why we tabled everything to get those numbers. That's my recollection.
Well, the ones that are in pit, you just to change out the register, you'd still have to dig it up.
Do you have to
You
change
have
out
to-
the
Yeah,
register?
you'd have,
Yeah, right on top of the meter.
If you're 6 foot down or 5 foot down, you. Yeah.
and there's no
pretty
way
much
to bring
can't
them
get
up
out
without,
unless you dig it.
because if you get new pits, then you can get the coil, then you just pull them up. But
Well, that's what I have. So I
the
didn't
coil,
know. Yeah.
yeah, yours is one of the newer ones.
One of the few, there's maybe a dozen of them. Most of them are all the old bits.
Yeah.
Don't have the coil.
Yeah, there too many. Yeah, coils. The ones that we've been changing out, we put the coils in. There's about 5 or 6 of them now. I know.
Yeah, plus Fifth Street, that one little piece of Fifth Street, there's about 5 of them on that. So there
There's
maybe,
maybe about
maybe a
12
dozen.
of them altogether with coils. Coil pits. Rest are down on the bottom.
And they all have a 10-year battery life. So we have to change them out sooner or later to make them work. And these other ones have 20.
I think the step forward would be to figure out if he can provide us a cost on what his hit and run is. The thing that is able to make this, from my perspective, I guess I can only speak for myself, but the thing that is able to make this something that can happen is the fact that he does the upfront cost, a second payment, 365 days, and then a final payment, 730. So that is what allows it to be able to be done. If we go with somebody else, I don't know that that is there. So if he could provide the pits and the runs included in his.
Metro? They don't do them.
Yeah.
All he does is just the meters.
Yeah.
You
That's
don't-
what I
you don't-
understood
you don't-
listening to the one meeting.
Yeah, you don't provide those. That's why I went through Ferguson. And then Quarter Main. But Ferguson, if you get them, if he said, if you know the exact price, I mean, exact count of what we need. And you get them in a large sum, you might be able to reduce the price. From that 294,000, but he didn't really know exactly what going on.
You know, one thing there is through SLIB, there is a 0% interest loan available for this, but it would be next spring before anything we could react on that, but there is that option if we want to move forward on something like this also. We need more information before we can move on this. That's where we're at right now, right?
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's what we were saying today. Like,
Any-
you guys want this all
Anything else you think that we need to know?
Well, I had
Bart, do you have
around
anything?
just to get prices on, get sizes for me on these other ones, that's on these, inch and a half and 1 inches and 2 inch and 4 inch. 'Cause I didn't know what was exactly what was what. And some of these will go to the parks too.
Yeah, we're gonna put meters
Yeah,
on
that's what I
on
said, some of
all
these will
city
go
owned
to the parks.
parks.
One of them, one
Buildings.
goes to the park and some of them 1 inch.
Yes,
And also doing on these pits. It's gonna, with us doing it, it's gonna be time intensive. Because we got our other stuff too, so it's gonna take a couple of years to put all of that in. Because if you gotta dig them all out, you're only gonna get 1 or 2 a day. And then in winter, you're not gonna be digging them out.
Job Corps.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Kids that can get under the house and the crawl spaces.
But if they're digging with the mini exits, they got really,
Be careful.
yeah.
For me, it'd be one a day, cause with my other duties, I can
Oh, yeah.
figure I can probably put one in a day myself. With my other duties. That's where we stand, we put them all in.
As we go, can we use our system, both systems? This
Yep.
year?
Bart, could you step up, identify yourself so
As
everybody
we go,
knows
can
you're
we use
speaking?
both systems. With this Metron and
Yeah.
census. Or we could like have so many meters installed now and so many later. For the new system, I don't know. If that'll allow us to do that. I think so. So
I would think so, only because he said that rear will be able to put on top and then you can use what's existing. So I would think that it would allow you to still be able to interchange, but I don't know.
use the old meters that's out there that we hadn't gotten yet to read while we're putting the new ones in. So we can do so many at a time.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. That's it.
The only other question I think I'd have is, how many do we think are suited to be plug and play? And what I mean by that is, even though it's not favorable, if you will, or what we like, how many of them can just be, you know, that the crawl space is accessible, or I guess what I'm trying to say is, how many would not have to have a pit and a run? It'd be favorable to have a pit and run, but how many of them could you still potentially knock on the door?
We can do 5 trailers right down here on A Street. Right now, I mean, we won't have to put those one in, Brad said he'd put them in. Just provide them.
I don't know about that. He said we would have to put them in.
Oh, is that what he said?
Last time I talked to him.
I thought, he told me he would.
And replace the other 5 that's already there.
So that's what I was saying, like,
1 year.
how many in the town can we just plug and play that are? They may not be favorable for us to have a pit, but they are under the house, the crawl space is accessible. Maybe it's in their wall, in their basement, but we could still set up and get it put in.
How many are?
The thing is, the biggest thing is we haven't been in most of those, so you don't know what your access is. On the ones that are in the houses, most of them we haven't been in, so we got no idea what the access is to that meter. To begin with,
What about under the homes? Have we accessed any of those?
We have to find out.
very few.
It just might be something to consider.
Mhm.
Why am I asking, are some of these that you're talking about, are they in houses that are abandoned as well, or?
There's some of those.
There's some of those.
Well, I think that maybe off of that those could be pushed to the back burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And focus on,
Yeah, get the easy ones done first.
let's try to get the ones that are utilized and maybe accessible through a crawl space, etc. That, I know it's not the ideal situation to not have the pit run, but I think the additional cost of $394,000 could potentially be a ball buster here.
We got Kevin is watching this. He asked if we got a number he can call in. I just got a text from him.
Was on the screen.
Pardon?
Whatever was on the screen.
Any just. Any calling or text or I can't.
Here,
It should be on the screen that he's watching it from, I think.
yeah.
Okay.
Screen shared, so you should be able to see it now.
I'll come here.
What? And then also one thing to throw out there,
Used to it.
Hmm.
So like-
the number of them
Just
don't
used
have
to it.
that, don't have meter at one. We're gonna have to go in. And we're gonna have to have the compression fittings or something, gonna have to cut it. Put the compression fittings in to be able to put a meter in. That, like I said, you gotta have access and you gotta find out where it even is.
Oh.
You know exactly who was in the houses? Did you read on the outside?
There's quite a few. Like, about half of them.
It's pretty close to that.
Not sure how many kids are calling. Not about.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Maybe it doesn't.
Is he emailed you either?
It's on the screen if he's watching it.
172.
Chris has put up the
Yeah,
number.
it's pretty close,
And
I think.
That's happened, what? I get from Melissa, 245 counts.
And. A lot of them ain't readings. But
or just have him call your phone and put it on the.
That's what I
speakerphone.
just sent him. If you're in trouble, give me a call.
Oh, he just said, there we go.
Well, the ones that don't read are 73.
Okay.
77. That's on their desk.
Hello, Kevin?
77, Mike, that don't.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so so I have been listening. One thing I would like to touch base is that all of the meters, they are quoted with a 12-foot external antenna, so that if you did move everything to a pit, I mean, you can install them where they're currently now, and then as you get the pits in, you just move the meter outside. Another thing that I heard was that asking about if we are able, if you can do two systems at once. That is 100% yes. Billing integration is included in the cost of the meters. So as you go, what we would do is we would mimic the current file format that you guys are currently using, which happens to be what the city of Buffalo uses. And from there, the only recommendation would be that you create a new route. And by doing so, when you go to read the census meters, it won't show up as a misread because it's moved over to the cellular route. Does that make sense?
You have some questions for him, Bart?
Oh, that makes sense right there.
Okay.
We just have to use the census route and the Macon route.
Okay. Have you heard us talking? I guess what we're up against is have to spend a lot of money on the meter boxes and installation, I guess.
So unfortunately, Metron only, we are a meter provider. We manufacture the meter. It'll last you 20 years plus. But besides that, we're not your Core and Main. We're not your Fergusons. We know meters. That is all we know. We know a lot about meters. Ferguson, they know a little about meters and a little about everything else. Well, we know a lot about meters, and that's it. So with our system, you are getting the best system out there. I mean, there's nobody else out there that does 1 minute data resolution and can break down water usage inside the house versus outside. So, I mean, anytime you have irrigation restrictions, we can do that. We are the only ones that can do that. My recommendation, I mean, yes, we can put our register on your older SR2s, but our meter bodies are only like $60 at her. Not even really with the pricing I gave you guys to try to entice you to just do the meter as well. But you will be getting the most accurate meter in the entire industry. On low flow, I mean, it caught a leak at 1/300th of a gallon per minute on our SARS test bench, which is one of the top of the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're sold on your meters. It's just the total package that right now we got to figure out how to fund it is I believe it'd be our issue.
Well, if you're open to a recommendation of what I have seen work across the country, would be to replace your meters where they're at currently. We have a temperature gauge built directly into the register, so if it gets close to freezing, as long as you guys grant your homeowners access, they can sign up to see all of their 1 minute data usage as well. So if a home gets close to freezing, they will get notified by text message, and so they'll know to drip a faucet or whatnot, have somebody come check it. So I mean, you guys are protected in that sense, because it'll wake up in real time and send a text message if a pipe bursts, so that you won't have to worry about basements flooding or anything like that.
But we're still going to have to, I believe,
To have pits.
we still have to dig it all up. And
Okay.
that's still going to be and replace pits or something. It's still going to be a relatively, we have no way around that, I don't think, right? We still got to dig up the meters down there 6 foot.
So my guess is they're already coil pits. So
No,
unless,
almost none of them are. Well, they're the older style is what our department has been telling us. Just told us.
so I do have to ask how the meter was installed then at that point, because how do they reach down 6 feet?
When they put them in.
They're old. Yeah,
So
they were dug.
The
They
meter
were dug, the hole was
meter-
dug, put the meter in, put the pit over the top of it, and then filled up around it.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, on those ones, I mean, to save cost, we could just retrofit to those. You take the current register off, you put our register directly onto the meter, and typically it does bring you close to brand new specs. If you do have a broken meter on one of those, we will still be able to tell you that as well.
One problem might be a lot of those are old. I don't know if we can retrofit a bunch of those meters. They're maybe older than the SR2s.
So if it's the SR8, unfortunately, we cannot retrofit to that one. But any SR2, and I mean any of the SR2s, first generation, onward, we can retrofit to that. But if it is the oh what it was actually the T. I don't even know what it's called before, or the census PMM. I think that's what it was before the SR2. If it's that, we're also able to retrofit to it. As long as it's a mechanical meter, we can retrofit to it. It's just then you lose out on your payback because of the added low flow of our meters being installed.
So it doesn't make any sense to retrofit it when you have to dig it up.
Yeah.
To retrofit it anyway. We're already digging it up.
Yeah.
So if you retrofit those, if it's an old meter that is basically a lead pipe that you can't work on, can you retrofit the top end of it?
Most likely, yes.
Because we got a lot of those old meters that we can't work on because they're so old. You just have to change.
No, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we went through this with the city of Buffalo and Laramie as well. I mean, it wasn't very many, but yeah, we're definitely able to retrofit onto any mechanical meter. As long as we have an index ratio, and we get our index ratios by testing old meters and then running them by the AWWA specs. And then we know if it passes or not.
Can you retrofit the 4-inch meters?
I would not recommend it.
Question.
For example, your census 4-inch meter, it doesn't start counting water until about 2 to 4 gallons per minute. So, I mean, if there's any like washing of hands or anything like that, that's free water. Our 4-inch meter is rated down to half a gallon per minute. So, I mean, it's still counting toilets flushing.
Do you have a question, Mark?
I do. So would it be beneficial to talk to the city of Buffalo or Laramie about what they've done just to see what has worked for them and what hasn't worked for them? Because it sounds like there's pretty similar to us.
Yeah, I believe I sent references over to you, right, Mike? If not, I can. I'll send references. It means more coming from them than me.
Do you have a question, Jake?
Yeah,
if we're gonna dig the pits up anyways, retrofit don't really make sense to save, even if it's $300, but it sounds like it's a lot less than that. I didn't realize you gotta dig it up to touch the meter, so. The only one I ever messed around with at all, and I didn't mess around with it, I just pulled the lid to see what was under there is out there where I'm at, and it's on the coil.
So one thing I would also like to add is that the meters going in pits, they do have a 10-year meter accuracy guarantee. So if anything, like if that meter loses accuracy whatsoever, we warranty it.
Kevin, it's Councilman Whitener here.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we have any question or not sold on the meter whatsoever. We've endured a different problem that we're going to have to figure out, I think, is where we're at. We've got probably 150 meters that are in the ground with the old style pit, not a coil pit. And we're going to have to figure out what that cost is going to be to change those meters. So the meter being sold on the meter, I don't think that any of us aren't sold. It's that we have a different problem that now we need to find a solution for.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Well, my recommendation for you guys would just be to replace what you can. Because you will recognize a big revenue increase still. and that'll help fund the pit replacements.
Any more questions for Kevin? Well, appreciate your call in, and we'll stay in touch, okay?
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Bye.
Should we, any other comments? Should we move down to TAD funding? Everybody up for that? TAD funding distribution agreement, chief.
So previously we,
Thank you for everybody showing.
previously we agreed to move the TAD funding to the Shoshoni Chamber of Commerce to administer the funds. But in light of current situations with the president of that board, I think that that should be rescinded and returned back to the town for obvious reasons.
Make a motion to rescind the TAD funding distribution agreement that was in place, shifting it back to the town.
It been moved by Councilman Whitener, second by Councilwoman Harkey, that we move the funding distribution oversight to the city council instead of the Chamber of Commerce discussion. Any discussion?
Well, I'd hate to discourage the active members of the Chamber of Commerce who are working really hard to keep that going. I understand the concern of financial responsibility on our part. But because one person has made some bad choices, maybe if we froze some funding or changed a little of the oversight, I don't want to see the Chamber of Commerce to quit again. I don't know if that would be discouraging enough to cause a drop in membership or activity on their
We
part.
haven't even received the money yet.
That's-
We hadn't switched it over to them yet. We were in the middle of this.
Yeah. Yes, Councilman.
Perhaps an idea would be to let's talk with the chamber. I mean, let's sit, maybe they come and they talk to us at our next council meeting about what their plan is moving forward. That also gives them 2 weeks to kind of come up with a plan. And then we can make a decision on that. I would suggest that.
I echo Councilman Stetler's opinion. It's I mean, the new Chamber of Commerce has been a breath of fresh air compared to what we had in the past. And I think as Councilman Nordine, let's talk to him and see how that develops before we give them a chance, like give them 90 days for economic development, give that a chance. I say, let's give these guys a chance.
I don't think the idea is to regain this and exclude them out by any means.
Yeah.
I think the idea is just it's July, the check come in, it's supposed to be deposited. It's not putting it somewhere where it can be accessed based off the current situation that happened in town. I think it's just a protection until we know the chamber is resurrected what dealings they are enduring themselves. So I think it's just a time thing. As soon as they're maybe have reelected their new president and XYZ, I think it's easy to put it right back to where it was destined to be.
I think it's just the optics. I mean, it looks horrible.
We can hold the check for, I believe, for 2 weeks while everything is getting sorted out. To our next council meeting.
I think in the past, or based off the agreement we approved, was any recommendation they had
they brought to us anyway to have a final say, so as the check, but I think it's just the actual hands-on piece. That's what I understand of it. So yeah, I think if a couple weeks lets them sort things out, or even a month or whatever it needs to be, I think that that's right by those that are trying hard to revamp the chamber and make a conscious effort.
I agree.
Our idea is to work with them, not work against them.
Correct.
If I may. So my suggestion would be more to put a freeze on transferring any funds to them rather than rescinding the whole deal. That's where my mind was going. So that we would maintain the funds until the discussions were had, not back out of everything we we're gonna do, but I think it would be prudent to just put a freeze on any funds transfer.
I think that's reasonable.
Do that,
Anybody
Marshall.
else? Councilman Harkey?
I'm asking Marshall if we can do that.
I don't know why not, unless there's something in the rules about the TAD funds. I don't know why you can't hold them for a couple of weeks.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'd have to actually read whatever rules are in there for disbursement timelines, but if there's not anything specific, I don't know why you couldn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's not.
And I don't,
Go
also,
ahead.
I'm sorry, I also don't think it'd be inappropriate to put a freeze on funds while we're reviewing the rules to make certain that we don't break any.
So we'll table this. If it's appropriate next meeting, or we have to have everything put together by then. And we'll just place. That'll be out in camp then, correct? Like Vance?
I'm good with whatever.
Okay.
In a second.
Pardon?
You do have a motion in
And
a
a
second.
second. Yeah. Would you like to rescind your motion? Or do you-
Yeah, I can rescind my motion.
Would you like to rescind yourself?
We're just gonna wait for 2 weeks.
Yeah, just gonna wait 2 weeks.
Oh, you handed me that. I don't know why I didn't got it.
Very, very good.
That's why I was confused.
Mayor's report, anybody have anything you want to talk about? Woman Harkey,
I don't.
Councilman Stepp.
I do, with the whole 4th of July fireworks deal, and then there was the deal, and maybe it'd been more appropriate during the police report where the statement was made that the people are gonna do it anyways about allowing for fireworks, and I feel like, and there was a lot of heated debate on that. I feel like it's important to clarify what was meant by that. It's not that our police force couldn't stop it, and it's not like, well, they're gonna do it anyways, we can't stop them. But it's the fact that Chief Kojai and us and some others have spent the last 6 years building a police department, but our police departments worked very hard on having a good relationship with the community. It's not that they couldn't stop them, but they didn't want to drive that wedge between the police department and the community over fireworks on the 250th year. So I think I just wanted to point out that it's not that they couldn't stop them. They didn't want to be a bunch of Nazis and hurt that relationship if it wasn't necessary.
Very well. Very well said.
And that was all I had.
Councilman Whitener, do you have something?
Yes, 3-on-3 was a success again. Brought in about 65 teams, I believe it was. It's
In that heat? Yeah.
a little bit down from what we've had historically, but I just think that's based off of our economy and there's something going on every weekend. And if you got a high school athlete or a junior high athlete with individual camps, and then we roll in July and money's already kind of been spent because camps are most often in June. So I think that was a little bit of it. Everybody that was along the street complied and worked with us and was pleasant. We didn't have any issues that weren't easily to be handled. But I think that I would like to make it known that I thank a few individuals that were key factors in keeping this event run. It may look like a lot of us have our faces on the forefront of this tournament, but in reality, there's many unsung heroes that make it happen. Without their time and dedication and weekend given up, there's only 4 hands that can only go so far. So I'd like to thank Mike Letch, Bart Broman, Mike Quiver. Those 3 were and they were huge in making this happen with extra time spent and tools provided and knowledge and just everything that they did to help that. And then those ladies that manned our main hut and table and allowed those of us that put it on to grab a whistle and ref games that we knew were going to be heated or other scenarios and fill in schedules where there was a void. But that would be Stacy DeClue and Jerry Prejean. And of course, I better give my wife thanks because without her, it doesn't happen either. And that's Tanel Whitener. Chris, you have anything to piggyback on that?
No, I think it's overall, I mean, the least amount of issues. I mean, every year it gets smoother and smoother. And we get more efficient, more effective, and it just runs better every year. And I think this year is no exception. Even though the teams were down, there's still a lot going on, you know, and you're constantly moving around. So I think it was a good event for the town. I didn't hear any really big complaints. You know, most people did a good job of taking care of their messes, and you know, our town crew did a great job coming and helping clean up and get the trash change out that night for Saturday, get ready for Sunday, and tearing everything down and getting everything moved out. So it was definitely a town effort, and I think every year it's just good for the town.
Yeah, great event as always.
One last thing is we had 7 licensed officials through the WHSAA. And all of those officials, many of those officials officiate lots of 3A and 4A state championship games. And it's, you know, it's not an average Joe getting to be here reffing. I mean, we're having some of the top officials in the entire state. One just drive all the way from between Torrington and Cheyenne. And he's been official of the year for the state many times. And it's just an honor to have grown this event to attract the people that we have. We did have a team from North Dakota, one from Mexico,
Montana,
and one from Montana. That was kind of our furthest away, which was pretty cool. Years past, we've had Arizona and Kansas, and we've kind of drawn 1 or 2 from far away land, if you will. But yeah, that's all I have.
Councilman Nordine.
Thank you for allowing Job Corps to come and have their conversation. I really think that we'd be silly as a town if we don't take advantage of their offer. I mean, I think we can really offset some budget, particularly in our physical plan area. You know, it just makes sense. And like I said earlier, like I said earlier, they benefit, we benefit. It's a mutualism sort of thing. I think that's pretty awesome. The second thing I'd like to bring up is that I brought back in the spring, I brought the strategic plan to the council. We haven't had any discussions on that whatsoever. And so I'd like to at least add it to the agenda for next week. And
Yes.
And when I went to the grant workshop at the end of, the first part of July, in July, I was impressed with, the applications, and I'm sure, Chief, you see this all the time. Who are you as a town? What are you doing? What's your plan? Where are you headed? What are you doing? All those answers are in the strategic plan. So having an approved plan to be able to start referencing and using and applying for grants, which is something, I mean, I haven't applied for nearly as many as the town has, but starting with this rifle range thing, I think we're really going to, it's the only way it's going to get built is through grants. Grant support. I mean, that's just the only way it's going to get done. So we need a strategic plan to do that the best. So I don't think we're gonna next, so in 2 weeks, it's just like, what's the plan moving forward? Are we gonna have side meetings? What are we gonna do to really work the strategic plan? You get an approved document. And then also that correlates to a master plan. And how do we work with the master plan? And really, in my focus, rifle range developments are part of the master plan. So anyway, that's something that's gonna be coming up. And the last thing I have to say, really, I'd like to talk is, the Dr. Idlecheck.
Yeah, Dr. Idlecheck.
Idlecheck, I can never say his name. That town meeting that we had last Thursday, it was, Shoshone is full of a bunch of really good people. I mean, we just really a bunch of really good people, and this was clearly and perhaps, unnecessarily so in my opinion, but it certainly was a contentious topic that needed to be discussed. And I applaud the towns for having that meeting where we're able to actually do those types of meetings and have those concerns being voiced because they needed to be. But there were some observations that I had, particularly when you kicked me out of my chair and you moved me out to the audience, and sound. I mean, sound is a major issue that we have. We have our microphones so we can talk, and people on YouTube can hear what we're talking about, and that's fine. But microphone management and speaking up are always parts of things that we need to be cognizant of. And so, but the audience, I mean, with Dr. Idlecheck, he's a soft-speaking gentleman. I was standing on the side, I couldn't even hear him. I mean, okay, I'm 71. I may not have the best ears in the world. I'm certainly not a 17-year-old, but I should have been able to hear him. I should have been able to hear him and understand him, and I couldn't. And so if I'm feeling that and I'm having to stand up to move forward, and others, we kept asking him to speak up. I mean, I remember Linda Mann, she was asking him to speak up. I was asking him to speak up. I mean, so we have a problem with getting people that come in as guest speakers to be able to be heard in the audience as well. So we really have two problems. YouTube, and the recordings that we have, because people watch those. I'm impressed how many people actually watch those. And then the other part is here. And we need a system that integrates the two. They are out there. So what I would like to do is I would like to go out and do some investigation into that and come forward with a plan, or some suggestions and some ideas, of what we could do to be able to meet both. And we can do both YouTube and audience through one microphone. That I do know we can do. And thus the feedback issues are virtually eliminated. So let me come up with some ideas and bring those forward and see what we can do, because the audience needs to hear what's going on as well. They just simply need to hear. And as has been mentioned many times, we're a town of, Shoshone is a town of senior citizens. So we need to have, and when they show up, we need to honor them, and by allowing them to at least be able to hear the discussions and what's going on. And so one of the things, the second part is kind of the decorum when we have a guest speaker in. What I'd highly recommend is that before we start making any comments, any issues, before we start reacting to what's being said by the speakers, is let's let them finish. We had two speakers. We had Dr. Idlecheck, and then we also had
Patrick Edwards.
Thank you, Patrick Edwards. He's a good buddy of mine too. I just went brain dead. Patrick Edwards come in, and Dr. Idlecheck, we've heard him before, but Patrick had basically the answer to most of our questions because we're all
He did.
concerned about the financial liability that the town would be having. But we didn't know that. We were too busy cross-talking over Dr. Idlecheck that we really couldn't get to Patrick Edwards to be able to get the answers that we were really looking for. So my suggestion, Mr. Mayor, is that let's have our guest speakers finish their presentations before we actually start our conversations and our communication. And so that's part of it. So because that cross-talking, we've all watched those news shows where everybody's talking over everybody and you can't hear a thing. You can't really follow any conversation. We're better than that. We don't have to do that. So my suggestion would be, let's let our guest speakers finish and then we can start the conversations with them and asking questions. And the questions, they can be I'm not saying we need to ask, if we have direct questions that we need to ask, that's open. We should. We owe it to the town. We owe it to our community to get answers to those hard questions. But let's let them finish so we can make an informed question or informed comments before we get to that point. That would be that. So the other part, so that's the crosstalk. And the other thing is, it was interesting. I mean, this whole discussion with the clinic has brought in some really good conversation, but I will encourage people when we're having these sorts of things and discussions, remember, one thing we always taught at the college is what's a good source for evidence? Is the internet a good source? And the answer is, well, sometimes yes, and sometimes no. But always have to remember that there's two sides to every story. And oftentimes we hear a story that kind of correlates with what our viewpoint is, and we grab a hold of that viewpoint and we say, here, see? And it's like, what's the other side of the story? Where are we at? What's happening? So again, we can ask those questions, but let's be slow to judgment, do proper research, get good sources for information before we start making, have well documented from good sources what our concerns are. Because the sources of information, we see all the time in the news, we hear, oh yeah, this is what's happening. And then 2 days later, oh, that didn't happen. It really happened this way. And let's find out what the truth is, and we can only do that by going and looking at multiple sources, but making sure the sources are valid sources to really be referring to. So again, I think our sound needs to be addressed. I think our decorum, let's let the speakers finish, and that will just solve a whole lot of our problems. That's what I have to say.
Yeah, it's hard to school the audience on, we can say what they should be researching to bring things up.
It is, but
they, but they have a right to speak and do bring their concerns up. I thought we covered a lot of good things, but there was things that.
Yeah, and we're talking about credibility of the comments.
Yes.
That's really what we're talking about, and they do have a right to speak.
Sure.
And I mean, I'm not trying to say they don't. They absolutely do and should. But if you really want to be understood and heard, be credible by researching the right sources.
Yeah, I agree. And we've got to be real conscious, not talking over to somebody else. But it was like you said, they brought the two experts had all the knowledge, and Patrick Edwards really answered all the liability questions, came very well prepared. It's I really don't have anything we haven't already talked about. Good job on the 3-on-3, and let's see in the heat. It was hot. It was hot. It went good. But I didn't entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman Hartsey. Can I get a second? Been
I'll
second
second.
by Councilman Nordine. Any further discussion? None being all in favor to adjourn this meeting, the Shoshone Town Council, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same. Motion passed all in the affirmative, 9:50.